Hey gang, today I'm going to show you a loot path that I use a lot when I'm low on money. I'll show it to you first on the TAC map, and then I'm going to hop in game and show you in game. The first thing you're going to want to do is fly into India 3 here. You're going to immediately go down this slope to this buried cache here. You'll then double back and go to this one right here. From there, I like to come up here and grab this buried cache right here. Then grab this one here. Then I'll double back slightly to grab this purse. Come up and clear the ambushed convoy. And loot the equipment box, the firearms box, and the duffel bag here. From there, depending on my current weight, I will either come up to radio station, or I will just proceed on to Shepherd here and depot before returning to the radio station. I should mention that this run does get enhanced by 2 keys, but they are not required. Most of your run is going to be barrel caches. From the radio station, I will typically come back to Shepherd, or if I'm doing all right on weight, I'll just proceed straight to the Lavong Fete before moving down here, grabbing this purse. And then since I'm LRI, I can either go to this cop here, Tempest, or I can run over to Alpha 3. If you're not LRI, you might consider doubling back and taking Winchester, coming up here and taking Tempest just to depot before finding another LZ, and then doubling back to Oscar 1 at the end to get to wherever you're going next. But yeah, this is the little loot path. It covers about 4 square kilometers, and you're going to be walking quite a bit, but it does yield up to around 10k per run is like the high end of what I've gotten. I think one of the better runs that I did earlier today, I came out with like 6k and like most of a kitted M4. So yeah, I'll hop in game and I'll show you. All right, so I'll just hop into PvE to show you guys. Like I said, first we're gonna go to India 3, so I'll go ahead and call my chopper. All right, here we are at India 3. So as soon as I get up, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to run down here to the east. And just here, there's going to be a barrel cache right next to this little structure. Now we double back. This run is a little walk intensive, but when you see what you get at the end of it, it's worth it. Here's the next cache. Now this AK spawns a lot in these. It doesn't sell very well, so drop it at your first opportunity. The next time you get a gun, just drop this one, or use it, I guess, if you're an AK guy. There will be AI up here. This run is sort of designed to not put you in a lot of combat, but there will be some unavoidably. Alright, from this house, we're going to proceed north-northwest, and we're going to come up here to this little pavilion. Just to the right of it is going to be a barrel cache here. From here, we run north-northeast. There we go, next to this little gubbins here. There's another buried cache. Now we're going to double back across the field. We're gonna get the purse at the T intersection there. Right, and then just in the back of this truck here, it's gonna be a purse. And 2 bodies on the ground on either side of the truck. From here, we're gonna double back and clear out the UNLRA convoy. You can see there to the west-northwest, the radio tower that we're going to be at later. Alright, from here, obviously loot your kills, but we've got a firearms box here, an equipment box here, and an ammo box here, as well as a medical bag here. Plus all these bodies that can spawn cash and other random items. If you get a CQ, like I've got here, one thing you can do is you can start stripping parts you don't want and throw on parts you do. And then by the end of it, you'll have a mostly kitted CQ, and then you can just switch out the lower receiver with an M4 and get your fully automatic mode back. Always check your kills because this run does get enhanced by the SRS room key, as well as the Villabong Fett room key. Those rooms will both give you the opportunity to get very valuable loot. Don't forget, before you leave this area, to come inside this building here and loot the duffel bag. Duffel bags can sometimes have a couple $100 in them, like that. And make sure you're going to have plenty of opportunities to grab water and food. Make sure you're doing that because you are going to be running a lot. So from here, given everything I've got, I'm going to elect to run on up to Shepherd and then take on SRS and Villabong Fett. So we're going to just proceed down this road to the northwest here. I saw this run first back on Devil Dog Gamer's stream, back when Point 3 first dropped. So most of the credit for this run does go to him. All I did was basically enhance it with all of the barrel cache locations. Now I'll give you all a tip that I didn't give the people who only watched the map portion and then left the video. So you get a little tip for watching this far. Inside this red house here, there's a duffel bag that can again have a couple $100 in it sometimes. This one, not so much. Here we are, we're full. Remember too to be looking on shelves, bedside tables, beds, all that goodness. Because there can be some loot there sometimes. Loot really does spawn everywhere. You just have to know where to look for it and be attentive because, I mean, especially like the gold rings and such, they are so small. Like their world models are so very small. If you're not finding them in a cache, you're going to have trouble seeing them. So you just have to pay really close attention. All right, so here we are at Shepherd. We're gonna offload all our goodies. And from Shepherd, we're gonna set off here to the southeast. Now, a little fun fact for those of you who don't know. This radio station is actually a location for the community airdrop events. So you can see Virtual Yoda's name there. I think some of them have an Altair sticker on them. But this is one of the locations where the regular community events that go on, there will be loot stash here. So if you're doing this during like a peak time and you notice that there's a lot of activity around here, it might be worth checking out the supply crate and seeing if you accidentally just stumbled into an event. This room doesn't really spawn a whole lot of loot. There is, I think, one spawn there. And I think there's one spawn in here on the desk. But it's a pretty rare spawn, and I've never seen it spawn anything good. Up here, you've got this here little spawn food. This left-hand room here has a duffel bag and some food spawns, as well as some first aid spawns, apparently. And this room here is the office. There is the jewelry box right here. And there are a couple spawns here on the desk, here on the shelf, here on the table, here on the shelves here. But this right here is SRS room. So we'll open this up, and it's got a couple loose spawns around here. It's got an ammo box, it's got an LRI gearbox, and a firearms box. There we got an AK-12. And a backpack upgrade. It's always worth, when you're doing these runs, to grab gear you know you're going to use, even if it is a little heavy. Saves you money buying it, and in this case, I don't know that you can buy that from a trader, aside from Vulture, if a PMC dies with it. To do with the AI here, in the main courtyard, there is a firearms box here. A lot of the time, if I'm, full up on weapons, I'll just take suppressors and sights and stuff. Stuff that I know will sell. It is worth considering if you really are dedicated to the game long term. The Discord has a black market channel where you can potentially sell some of these parts. I've never done it, but it is an opportunity that's there for you. In addition, there's a duffel bag here that'll spawn the occasional bits of loot, and a medical crate. Turning around here and going through these doors, there are a few spawns right here, a few spawns right here, and a few spawns here. As well as in here. Right here, there is a dedicated spawn for the SRS room key. Make sure you check that. And there's a duffel bag. Alright, once you're done here, you want to exit out to the northeast and proceed on to Villa Von Fett. If at this point you don't have food, there's a cooler here. Additionally, these bodies will occasionally spawn small food and water items. Most of the time it's cash. In this room here, obviously you see that spawn right there. There is a plastic container, which is not something I know of being anywhere else on the map. I haven't seen it spawn anything besides food items and random civilian loot, but there are 2 dead bodies in here. As well as a couple spawns right here. Up here on the porch, there are obviously the spawns on the table and the chairs, but there is a duffel bag. And inside here, there is a jewelry box. I hear someone in here, so there's a PMC here. We are in PvE, though, so they're not a threat to me. There are spawns here. There's a civilian chest here, spawns here. There's a duffel bag in this room right here. I'm not touching any of it because he did get here first. And this is the Villa Von Fett room. You've got the jewelry box here and the briefcase here. The best spawns, probably in the entire loot run, come from this jewelry box. I've gotten a watch worth 6 grand by itself from that box, so... and this computer is part of a task, so if you're a quest head like me, that's worth looking into. From here, you're gonna want to run kind of northeast-ish. If you'd like, you can run down to the garage here. There's a duffel bag out behind the garage, but I prefer to run down here. And you want to check all along here, because there are spawns all down all these stalls and tables, but the main event is right in here. There is this jewelry box. You can also search the briefcase, although here, same with the civilian chest. And the final real gold mine of the loot run is this purse right here, which it seems our friend has. Here he goes, running off into the sunset. That's pretty much the run. I mean, there's a couple other spawns along here. If you're feeling a little empty, you can loot these bodies here. There are a couple barrel caches. There's one behind this building here at 205-153. So if you're still feeling a little empty, you can run down there. But this is where I typically end the run at, is this restaurant right here. All right, so this all here, including the AK, is what I'm going to sell out of that run. And then down here in the Delta bag, we've got all the valuables that we found. Now, we didn't hit everything, because, like I said, we had a PMC join us who looted some of the stuff. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon. Peace out.